Tanashi!
What is up, YouTube? This is Tanashi with another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile video. This time we'll be looking at the changes and updates to my Gradius ship deck. Now, I understand that an OTK deck is not fun for everyone, especially to face. But compared to other OTK scenarios like the boring Utopia double shoehorned into any deck, this one is an entire deck strategy that requires actual tact to get its game-ending moveset off. And I know I've done a profile on this deck very recently, and it hasn't changed much since the last time I showed it, but I have made a couple tech changes that were both recommended and necessary that make this deck significantly better on both the offense and the follow-up. And you'll see what I mean when we take a closer look. Starting with the monster lineup, we have a playset of Lord British Space Fighter. If it destroys a monster in battle, it can either attack again, target and destroy a set card, or summon a 1200 attack and defense token to your side of the field. We have a playset of Vic Viper T301, the newest member of the Gradius ship family. He summons himself from hand or grave once per turn when any two monsters battle, but he will banish himself if he leaves the field after. And he gives all light machines 1200 attack while he's face up on the field. We have a playset of Victory Viper Double X03, the most well-known member of the Gradius ship family and the original headliner of the infamous Victory Viper OTK this deck is inspired from. If he destroys a monster in battle, he either gives himself a 400 attack point boost, targets and destroys a face-up spell or trap, or summons a token that always has the same type, attribute, level, attack, and defense as the Viper that created it, but leaves the field if that Viper is no longer face-up. We have a playset each of Gold Gadget and Silver Gadget to accelerate bodies onto the field. As a hard once per turn, if either of them are summoned, they can summon a level 4 machine from hand, and if either of them are destroyed, they special summon a new gadget from deck except for a copy of themselves. We have a playset each of Jizukiru the Star Destroying Kaiju and Thunder King the Lightning Strike Kaiju. Their individual effects aren't really used, they are exclusively used to remove problem cards by tributing over an opponent's monster and special summoning itself to the opponent's field. You can also summon one to your own field for free if your opponent controls a kaiju, but each player can only control one kaiju at a time. And in most cases, you have more benefit from having Jizukiru on your side, thanks to Vic Viper T301, but either one on the opponent's side is definitely your goal. And we have a playset of Honest, a light tech no one expects to see in this game. If your light monster battles an opponent's monster, you can discard this to give that light monster an attack boost equal to the attack of what it's battling for the turn. And on a monster that, say, gets a second attack or spawns a token with the same attack as itself, that can be a game ender. Next we have the spell cards. We have one Call by the Grave, one Foolish Burial, one Harpy's Feather Duster. We have 3 Inferno Reckless Summon, designed to take advantage of the occasional low attack special summoning bodies. If you special summon a 1500 or less attack monster while your opponent controls any monsters, you can then summon as many copies of that monster from your hand, deck, or grave as possible, and then your opponent can do the same with any monster they control. Very convenient if your opponent has a board full of extra deck monsters. We have a playset of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, a very convenient problem solver much like the kaijus themselves. It destroys as many monsters as possible on the field, and then special summons a kaiju to each side with different names in attack mode. These kaijus cannot change their battle positions and must attack if able, which can have hilarious consequences. Also, you can banish the spell from the graveyard to add any kaiju monster from deck to hand, but not on the turn it went to the grave. We have a playset of Leeching the Light, a very fun tech I use in tandem with giving the opponent a kaiju. It targets any light monster the opponent controls, and gives all monsters you currently control attack equal to that target. It's like Honest for your whole board. This card almost made me want to throw in some Nibiru to complement it, but I decided against it at the last moment. A playset of Limiter Removal, to benefit the machines your deck uses. It's a quick play spell that doubles the current attack of all monsters you control for the turn, but they will all self-destruct at the end phase. And one Monster Reborn. Now, since we don't have any traps in the deck, we'll just slide right into the side deck. I have a playset each of Cosmic Cyclone, Dark Ruler No More, Solemn Johnson, Solemn Strike, and Solemn Warning. And finally, we finish up with the extra deck. We have a playset of Bujintei Tsukuyomi, a resource-based defensive piece. Its second effect isn't used, but it can detach a material to discard your entire hand, minimum 1 card, to draw 2 new cards. We have a pair of Evil Swarm Exciton Knights, a more offensive going first piece. If I have fewer cards on my field than in my hand during my main phase or the opponent's battle phase, then once per chain, I can detach a material to destroy all other cards on the field, but the opponent takes no further damage this turn. We have a pair of Starleech Paladynamo, a card I use to enable both an easier time going second and a funny little combo to help finish off games. It can attach 2 to target any opponent's face-up monster, reduce its attack to 0, and negate its effects, both permanently. And if he happens to be destroyed, I get to draw a card. We have a small Utopia package, consisting of one number 39 Utopia, one number S39 Utopia Prime, and one number S39 Utopia the Lightning. I just summon Utopia, then stack Prime on top with its effect, and then stack Lightning on top with its effect. But Lightning also prevents other cards and effects from activating when he attacks, and he can double detach to automatically make his own attack 5000 when he battles on either turn. We have a pair of Hip-Ho Shenanigan, a generic light tech to take advantage of the tokens the ship sometimes drops. It boosts any light monster by 500, reduces any dark by 400, and moves a light monster from grave to hand when it's destroyed. We have a pair of Platinum Gadget, another slight extender and convenient use of the tokens. It can't be used as link material on the turn it's played, but it can summon a level 4 or lower machine from hand to one of its zones, and if it's destroyed it can summon any level 4 gadget from the deck. And we have a pair of the all-new Steel Star Regulator, an odd tech to be sure, but it's very convenient for a deck that runs both machines and exceeds monsters. It needs 3 non-link monsters to be summoned, gains 100 attack for every level or rank of the monsters used for its summon, and it can target and destroy a non-link monster your opponent controls with less current attack than him once per turn. But here's the kicker. If you use an Xyz monster as material, it will also burn the opponent for half of that destroyed monster's original attack, which is why he tandems well with Starleech Paladynamo. And that is the deck. I think the only reason this deck wins as often as it does is because it takes advantage of people using only monsters for their offensive plays and having very few effects that can be hand-trapped, more so than doing anything realistically unfair. But when it does win, most people aren't even mad about it. They don't mind losing to a classic OTK strategy like Victory Viper OTK because of how nostalgic and unique it is among the thousands of other decks out there right now. And to me and several others, it's a breath of fresh air, both to use and to face. I thank you for watching the deck profile video. If you can think of any ways I can improve this all-light deck, feel free to let me know. In the meantime, this has been Nanashi, signing out.
Every night and dawn, there is changes in the air, we can find when somebody's on. It is war. Come on.